This video, I'm going to be showing you the dark side of willpower. This is something you don't learn when it comes to personal development, and I'm going to show you what you can do to bypass the negative side effects of it. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be showing you the vibration of willpower and the dark side of it. Why sometimes it works and then sometimes it works against you. And also how willpower may be the saving grace to you, but at the same time, it may be a detriment to a certain point as well. So this has to do with understanding the levels of consciousness. You've probably seen me share this chart right here before. This chart shows the different vibrational levels. And what happens is in our life, we fluctuate between different states of consciousness. Now, from certain spaces, depending on where we are on this chart, you'll notice that the willingness is like the willpower. Think of willingness as your discipline. And in a way like the ego is saying, I'm going to focus on this and I'm going to do it. And then when the ego says that, it then starts to add momentum to its self-esteem, its self-image. It says like, I can do this, and it then begins to change. However, then eventually that can work against you. Like for example, I used to be somebody that was more in the lower vibrational states of consciousness. I was angry about my past. I was feeling fear and resistance for the future. I wasn't happy with where I was. I was working a 9-to-5 job I wasn't passionate about. And what happened is I had a certain self-image of myself. And from that level of consciousness, I was trying to manifest things in my life. I had this like vision that somehow someone was going to put me on. Someone like, I was going to meet like Tony Robbins, or I remember one time I met Jack Canfield at work. I worked at Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes. And I was like, oh, what if like he puts me on and he saw all this potential? And that's what I thought was going to happen. And I was like that for like 2 years, thinking and just waiting and hoping things would happen. But then what happened is, a lot of you know the story if you've heard me talk about it. I know I talk about it a lot, but in February 2017, I decided I was going to make daily videos on YouTube, and I was going to commit to my vision no matter what. So I started to make a video every single day. I'm very passionate about making videos, and over the course of about 3 to 6 months, my whole entire life changed. About 3 to 4 months later, I was able to go full-time doing what I love, and from that point going forward, it's just been an escalation of me just doing more and more what I love and having a great amount of abundance. And that came from that choice, that willingness to move out of the story and the victimization of my past. Also, I went through the healing of a lot of the things that I went through in my past. So it's like I was almost able to let go of that energy. But then what I did is I said, no, I'm not here because of all these negative things. It's not what happened to me. It's what I do with what happened to me. So then what I did is I started to make daily videos. And that not just was so powerful because I was making daily videos, it was powerful because it changed my self-image. I then saw that I can say I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it. So that's what it did to me. And then people look at me now and they're like, Aaron, you have a crazy cool work ethic. You're able to make videos and Instagram posts, and I don't know how you do it. Well, I didn't always have, I don't know why I just did that. I think I was going to write something. I didn't always have that. It was a choice that I made, and that choice repetitively over time changed my self-image. So then I was at willpower. Now here's the thing. There's a lot of resistance at willpower, because then think of it also as the ego controlling things. I had gotten results with making daily videos, so I was in a way rewarded for making daily videos because my life transformed so much. So that remained on autopilot, where I'm like, I always have to be working hard. And if I'm always working hard, I'm always going to be progressing in life. So what happened is I then started to create my own resistance, because if I wasn't making daily videos, or if I wasn't always having like the pedal to the metal, then I would feel like I wasn't doing enough. And I realized as well that if things would happen not according to the blueprint in my mind, I would feel resistant about it. So let me show you kind of an example here. So this actually should be switched around. This needs to be switched, because willingness and acceptance is 350. The scale of consciousness, you've probably seen me share many times. You've got anger, fear, guilt, eventually neutrality. And then this is like love, peace, joy, and enlightenment. And love is right here. Reasonings between 4 and 500. And then what it is it's willingness calibrates at about 310. Acceptance calibrates at 350. Now what happens is the ego, in its view of what is correct and in its view of what brings success, has a certain level of power, but all resistance is created from the ego wanting things to be different, the ego having a certain blueprint in the mind. And what the ego has is a resistance to what is, because the ego always wants to progress to the next level. Now, I had this consciousness realization when I was in Costa Rica in November, and you've probably seen my energy change drastically. Since then, I'm just so much more free. I also realized that willingness, there was an ego of like a way I wanted people to perceive of me. So it was like people need to perceive of me as a certain way, and I was afraid to share certain things about my life. But then what happened is I realized that I was living within the prison of my own willpower. I had to eat a certain type of food, and it was like I wouldn't even treat myself to a cheat meal because, well, it's low vibrational food. And I was being so hard on myself. But then I realized, and I had this epiphany, in a way, this consciousness shift, that I was being so hard on myself that I was creating my own resistance, and I was creating my own reality, my own limitation, that I have to work really, really hard to be successful. And I realized that I was resisting the present moment and I wasn't actually there. I was in Costa Rica, at an amazing place with amazing people. And all I could think about was, am I making enough videos? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Is this getting me closer to somewhere in the future? I wasn't actually living in the present. And when I had this awareness, it started to grow within me. And then I had that epiphany. Why is the present moment not good enough? That's what I realized. I was resisting the present moment because I wanted to be somewhere else other than where I was, and I was doing everything I could to get there. When would it be enough? When would enough YouTube subscribers and all of this self-image validation, when would it ever be enough? Truth is it will never be enough. Because the willpower, the will of the ego always wants more. It can be both a blessing, because then it allows to take action, but it can also be a curse. Because no matter what happens, it's never really happy. I remember when I first started on YouTube, I said, oh, when I get like 50,000 subscribers, man, that'll be so cool. And then I got 50, and I was like, wait, 100, man, that many, like 100, and then K, like that sounds so cool. And then you get 100, then it's 200, then it's 300, then it's 400, then it's 500, and it just keeps going. Because the ego always wants more. But the reason I'm saying this isn't always bad is, where are you currently? Are you telling yourself a story that you can't go full time doing what you love? Are you feeling desire at 125? Why is desire such a low vibrational emotion? Because when you really, really long for something and you really, really want something, it means you really, really don't currently have it. It's coming from a sense of yearning. When you start to take action, you're in the vibration of what you want. The vibration of desire is a different reality than the vibration of having something. So it depends on where you are as to whether willpower is good for you or destructive to you. If you are like I was, right underneath that, of the willingness, and I didn't have the willpower, and I wasn't taking action doing what I love, then maybe willpower is powerful for you. Maybe it's something you can do, is start to take action doing what you love, start to take action in general. And by doing that, you begin to get closer to your goals, and it changes your self-image. You're no longer the person sitting on your couch hoping things happen. And I know that may sound harsh to some people, but it's what I needed to hear back in the day. I'm thinking of myself just a couple years ago. What would I have wanted to hear? And you know, some of the best things that I was told was take massive action. But take massive action depending on where you are on the scale of consciousness. If you're already taking massive action and you're actually taking too much and you're taking resistant action, then maybe the key is acceptance, which is at 350. Acceptance. When you can accept the present moment, that's when transformation begins to happen. Why are you trying to make so many YouTube videos and trying to get a certain status? Why are you trying all of that? That's what I would ask myself. All right, is the present moment not good enough already? Is what you have not good enough already? And that's when transformation happens. Transformation does not happen from willpower. Transformation happens from acceptance. That's true transformation. Acceptance of the moment as it is. Yes, you can still discern and intend for something different, but it's acceptance of what is. If you're always trying to control from the level of the ego, you're creating resistance. Because the job of the ego in physical reality is not to control everything. It's to direct, and it's to choose that which it has as a priority, its values. But if the ego cannot accept reality for what it is, then the resistance that it feels will continue to create that over and over again. You see, that's the thing. That's the thing. So by the way, if you all haven't, I have a YouTube video going live right now. It's on, it's a new series. Oh, cool. I'm gonna get in there in a minute. But right now, I'm doing this new series of levels of consciousness, kind of what I'm sharing with you right now. What I'll do is I'll link it. The video that's going live, I have one on money, the first one. There's one on relationships. And what I do is I show the different levels of consciousness. There's 3 characters, 3 versions of Aaron. And I show from those 3 different perspectives, 3 levels of consciousness, because I'm going to be making a lot more content on levels of consciousness because I really believe in it, and I'm really studying and learning exactly how to transcend different levels, and I've done it in my own life, so it's something I'm very passionate about. So willingness is powerful, but it's only powerful depending on where you are, and then at a certain point it becomes too redundant. This is the paradox though. I had this consciousness shift back in when I was in Costa Rica. I decided I was going to focus more on being in high vibes, like love and enjoyment. And when I did that, guess what happened? My whole entire life changed. I made a video on starseeds, something I was afraid to make because of what people would think of me. I made that video, it went viral, took my channel to the next level. I became more successful doing less than ever before because I was in a high vibe state of alignment. So yes, willingness is powerful, willpower is powerful, but the next level is a high vibrational state of being, of beingness. Because the more I've let go of needing to be a certain way, the more I've let go of trying to escape the present moment, and the more I've enjoyed the present moment, is the more that my life has really begun to transform. So the key to this process is awareness of where you currently are in your levels of consciousness, and know that I have the notes written right here. 310. 310 is where willpower resonates at. Acceptance is 350. Accept the present moment for what it is. You can still have a desire for it to be a little bit different and set intentions, but don't get caught up in the negativity of the ego. Understand that you are worthy, and the more you exist in that acceptance is the more your life will begin to change. So something else that I have right now is the Shift Experience Training, SHIFT. I show you how that's the key to shifting your level of consciousness and shifting your reality. It is completely free. It's in the top of the description box below. We also do a Shift Energetic Activation session during that. So if you want to join, you can click in the top of the link below. Other than that, let me know what you thought of this kind of video, of the new series that I have coming out as well, and I'll link those below as well. And other than that, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification gear so you can see the daily vids that I do. Other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.